Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the market close. We got a red day on the market. Nice way to end the month. What can I say? What can I say? Of course, a lot of that red that we're seeing today is, well, we had new tariffs that dropped this week, and those are the automotive tariffs. So 25% on well, cars that are not made in the US. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, there's also been some interesting campaign things. For one, I don't know if you guys heard I don't know if it was last night, but yesterday, Pierre Polyev announced that he wants to add another $5,000 to the TFSA tap up. I was going to say tap up, no, top off. And but there was a stipulation to it. There's a stipulation to it. We're going to talk about that as well. Holy banana bread. It's the end of the week, guys. This is your gateway to the weekend. So let's head over to the charts. Let's start right off. We're gonna jump on it. Oh, that's not that's not the charts. That's Blossom. We'll talk about Blossom here in a moment or so. Starting as normal with the TSX. As you see earlier in the week, we actually made it above my little blue line, which is basically this blue line shows us where, well, that's the break even line. So if we're below the blue line, we've had a red month, and we have. And today, not a great day on the market at all. A lot of red. Now, if you're looking for some deals, if you're looking for the dip, it's there. It's there today. So, I'll be interested to know if you guys found any good deals today. But yeah, right now we are down 1.55% with about 15 minutes left in the market. The S&P 500, even worse, 2.10% down. And we have to scroll down. We have to scroll a bit to see the blue line for them. Yeah, not a great day on either market. NASDAQ, even worse, a full 2.65% down. Dow Jones down 1.74%. Gold having a good day. Gold is up. Gold is currently sitting above $3,000 an ounce. They are up 0.83% on the day. Silver's down a full 1.18. WTI is down. So West Texas Intermediate, Bitcoin and Ethereum also both down. Heading into the heat map, and oh boy, we got a lot of red. Whoa, let's get rid of that. Both railroads, oh boy, they're both down more than 2%. CP and CNR are down. Waste Connections, WCN, down. The banks, Royal Bank, BMO, BNS, TD Bank, they're down. Yeah, not a lot of good in there. Now Enbridge is up, so that's not too shabby. So is Pembina. Pembina Pipelines. They're up a little bit too. Over in the utilities, one of our safe havens is the utility sector. We got Fortis up a full 1.69%. Canadian Utilities is up. Emera is up. ATCO's up. It's looking good. It's looking good for utilities. Definitely they're having a good day. Looking at the United States, oh boy, a lot of red here. Pretty much the entire Magnificent Seven in the red. We've also got Broadcom down quite a bit. Berkshire Hathaway's down. Visa's down. A little bit of green. That little green oasis I see here is in the health technology, like AbbVie is up at 1.51%. So what can I say? Not a good day on the market. And of course, crypto. Oh boy, this is a lot of red. Bitcoin down a full 4%. Ethereum 6.45%. Look at that. Solana's down. That weird trillionaire is up, but there's a lot of crypto. We're going to see if we can find some obscure coin in the green. There's about, quite literally, more than 15,000 crap coins out there. I usually say, don't go near them. Let's grab this little one over here. What do we got? We got Rangers Protocol Gas. This is gut. This has got to be a game. This has got to be a game. And when you put that together, you get RPG. So I'm thinking this is a game, but I could be wrong. I don't know. It is worth, well, it's worth 14.6 cents a coin. But I always say, you know what? If you don't know what the coin's doing, stay away from it. Read the white paper. Honestly, I'd rather you hit a penny stock than one of these crap coins, to be honest. Stick to the big one. Stick to your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and even the Dogecoin, which is somewhere's in here in red. I don't see Dogecoin, but oh, there they are right there. 5.98% down. Holy banana bread. All right. Oh, let's jump back over to Blossom. They're getting more and more functional on the Blossom. One of the things, though, that I can do on Blossom is if you have your portfolio linked to Blossom and you want me to review it, let me know ASAP, because right now I don't have anybody on the list for this Sunday. So I do have an opening if you want me to review your portfolio on Sunday. Just head into Blossom. There's a link down below. Once you're there, follow me, send me a direct message on Blossom and let me know. And if you do, that way there, and do it before. Don't do it like 5 minutes before the show on Sunday, because if I'm going to do somebody on Sunday, this way here, I can actually look at the portfolio first instead of coming in completely blind. But I mean, I'll go in blind anyway if I have to, but I'd rather have it's better experience, I think, for you if I have a chance to actually look at your portfolio before we do that. So anyway, that's Blossom. Let's get away from Blossom at the moment. Let's actually jump right back into your guys. You guys have a whole bunch, and we got about 9 minutes for the bell. All right. Oh boy, there's a lot of comments. There's a lot of comments. Jonathan in first, as pretty much normal, And am I late for more red markets? No, there's plenty of red markets to go around. So nobody's late for the red. Max is in the house with a hello, everyone. And we got Stan in the house saying happy Friday all. Kiev and Cass saying good afternoon, gang. We got a greetings all from a cowboy. And Chad is saying read the last 100 days and only gonna get worse. Well, we got a potential recession on the horizon. So Chad may be right. Rory is in the house with a hi all. And Kevin Cass says, practice my shorting skills today. Ooh, interesting. What did you short? Rory says, I have an order for XEQT. Not sure if it was filled yet. Interesting. Chad says, let's see, Trump. What I say, he backed down with Canada wanting to talk. What a clown. So yes, today, Carney and Trump had their first conversation. A lot of interesting things came out of that. One of the most interesting things is Donald Trump actually had a respectful post on Truth Social about Canada after his meeting with Carney. So one, he actually called Carney the prime minister, which is a little bit different from his governor. He did not even mention the annexation of Canada in his tweet. He said that it was positive and that there were roads forward for both Canada and the United States, and that he looks forward to meeting with Carney or whoever wins the prime ministership once the election is over. So that's positivity. I did like to see that. It's nice to see less threatening posts. We'll call them posts. I don't know what you call it on Truth Social. I guess it's a post, or do they call them truths? That would be, you know what? Donald, if you're listening to this, call them truths, because that would work. Chad says, thing will boom in May. So yeah, I mean, this is the thing. I mean, if we can get the tariffs and get all of that craziness settled, even if it's a matter of giving Donald the win he wants, that could be really good for the markets. Come May, we could certainly have a pretty good May. I hope so. Patricia is in the house with a hi. Let's see. Chat says still up 200% on crypto. A dirty fate, manipulation too much. There we go. Rory says never touched it. So either Rory's talking about crypto or Blossom, one of the two, because I think this was posted around when I was talking about the Blossom thing. Um, let's see. Jonathan says 15K crap coins, collect them all. Yeah, it's like Pokemon. It's like Pokemon. Oh boy. Could you imagine? Could you imagine trying to buy one of every single coin? You're going to need a bigger wallet. That's what I'm going to say. Chad says, bought 3 years ago, crypto best performance to date. We got Mary in the house with a hello all. Of course, guys, Mary is the official captain of the like button. So hit that like button. Let's roll this out to some more folks as we start to close out this week in trading. Here we go. It's time to have a coffee. Oh, so good. All right. We got Sophie in the house with a happy Rye Day crew. Or I think that's a Friday, maybe? A Friday or a Rye Day, maybe. Kevin Cat says IVN. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. You'll have to let me know how that goes. You're gonna have to let me know how that goes. I'm curious. Patricia says a lot of red today. Am in New York State. I didn't get the chance to look at the market today. So yes, very red on both sides of the border. So absolutely. New York State. I wonder, are you down there for work? Is that kind of what that is? Chad says, Chad is always right. Okay. Let's see. He showed some respect because Canada will hurt badly. The USA's want a war talk to douche does. Oh, are you talking? I'm thinking that's Doug. I'm thinking that's Doug. Yeah, Ford. Okay, yeah, Doug Ford. Yeah, Doug, of course, he has this way. And Doug, of course, Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario. He's kind of got that whole thing like, hey, he hit the US hits us, let's hit him twice as hard with a sledgehammer. So yeah, Doug Ford tends to be a little brass. Chad says cash is trash, more to crypto. Rye die, have a shot of rye. Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough. Cheers. Rory says ETFs should be cheaper Monday. Didn't get in today. I was several cents away. Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking to the second. I'm looking to the second. So Wednesday, when those reciprocal tariffs drop, I'm hoping. I hate to say it, I'm hoping for a big market crash because that could be a day. That could be a good buy the dip day, for sure. So we'll have to see how that is all going to look. Cowboy says Carney's speech last said our relationship is over with the states. Yes, he was very adamant about that yesterday. So interesting how 24 hours and things look a little bit different. So we'll have to see if his verbiage changes. It may not, because right now the Liberals are using that as kind of their rally call, to get votes. So even if things are looking good, he might still have to maintain that tougher talk. So we'll see how this is all going to work out. I can't wait. So guys, we have about a minute and a half until the bell. So if you are using headphones, earbuds, and you don't like the loud noise, you got a minute and 20 seconds to maybe turn the volume down or just pull the plugs out just before. I'll try to give about a 10-second warning before the bell because I don't want to hurt anybody's ears. I don't want to hurt anyone's ears for sure. Rory says Pierre is selling out the entire warehouses on his campaign. Well, and this thing we're going to talk not today. We're going to talk on the Sunday show. I do have what both parties need to do if they want to win. Just some tips. I got 4 tips for both parties. We'll see how that goes. Sophie says, I went to the rally in New York. I was really lucky to get in. 2,500 people, give or take. I didn't even know there was a rally in New York, but yeah, hey, great, cool. I've I've actually never been to a rally. Uh, yeah, I've never been to a rally. What can I say? All right, here's that 10-second warning for the bell because we got 10 seconds till the end of the market. It's closing in just a couple seconds here. All right, here we go. All right. It was like the bell didn't have, I don't know what it was. The bell was having technical difficulties. It was ringing, but that was kind of pathetic. I was kind of pathetic. Probably out of my top 100 bell rings, that was number 100. So not a great bell ring, not a great bell ring at all. It was like the bell was it was like lazy. It was a lazy bell today. All right. Rory says, I was watching the plebe on that one. North York. North York. Oh, North York. Okay. There we go. That's what, when you said New York and rally, that's why I was like, what kind of rallies going on down in okay, but North York. All right. Now who was I do not know who was rallying in New York. Was that Pierre? Was that I probably was. It probably was. I'm on his video giving him a high five. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Um, let's see. Well, nothing was bought today. Nothing was bought today. Okay. Now there is a poll. By the way, it's not really a poll. It's kind of two answers. I did put up about next Friday. Next Friday. Normally I do a deep dive. You guys know I normally do deep dives on Friday. Well, other than today. Today was the last video of the month. So the members chose that Donald Trump video that I did. So that's fantastic. But next Friday, I was like, I kind of want to do a swing trade video on that whole Air Canada thing because I'm back into the Air Canada swing trade. And so, yeah, if you guys want to see that, just vote yes. If you don't want to see it, vote no. If you just want to see the results, I gave you guys, if you don't care, I gave you an option to just see the results as well. Last time I looked, and well, let me take a look right now. I'll just refresh the page. I think it's going to go ahead. Last time I looked, we had banana bread. Here we are. Yeah, 72% are saying yes, 14% are saying no, and 14% don't care. So, woo, there we go. So yeah, just I have a feeling we're gonna do well. It's hard to say. We've only got 29 votes in, so if all the no sayers are still ready to vote, maybe not. But so far, it looks like we're probably gonna do it. Now, why that's kind of important is, and I'm gonna pull this up here. Let me get back in. Of course, you guys know I had to reboot everything, so I have to pull up new pages once again. So, all right, we'll go over here to TMX Money and take a look at this. Take a look at this over here, Air Canada. Holy banana bread, $14.13. Oh boy, that is way below the entry point on the trade. So we're going to talk about that. And if you were wondering why this is like a swing trade type thing, well, let's take a gander here. This is the 5-year, so you can sort of see that Air Canada tends to be a lot higher than where we're at now. Even if you want to look at 18 to 20, that tends to be a zone that Air Canada definitely loves. Now, right now, they're down to $14.13. So with the trade, so what I'm doing with the 0 to 100K is every month that it is below 17. So if it's below about here, I'm going to buy it. And then I will, once it gets, and I think around $22, next time it hits $22 after that, I'm going to sell it all. So I did this last time. Now, last time I did it was back in here, and it was every time it was below 16. So basically, I bought through this little segment in here. Then it went up, and for me at that time it was 20, and I was like, I was being way too conservative with the swing and being a little bit less conservative this time. Um, but it is looking pretty good. Now, this here, of course, this is the 5-year. If we go to the 10-year, you can actually see a little bit better. You can sort of see that Air Canada at one point was way up here, way up here in the 50s. Now, this is unreasonable for them to get back to that because dilution. There was a lot of share dilution in there. So that, of course, deflated their price big time, makes it hard to get back there. But one of the things with with their last earnings report, Air Canada did announce that they're going to be doing share buybacks this year. That's going to help get this price up a little bit as well. Now, mind you, right now they are suffering. They've lost a lot of business to the US, of course, because Canadians are choosing not to go there. Now, they will, of course, be opening up more domestic flights, also more flights to other locales. So it'll all kind of balance out in the end. But anyway, I will stop talking about Air Canada right now because I'm going to be probably putting this all into a video. So that's going to be fantastic. All right, Sophie said, let's see, Pierre. Okay, so you were at a Pierre rally. Very cool, very cool. Question. I have a question for you, Sophie. I was watching something earlier, and somebody mentioned that at some of the Pierre rallies, because of that whole Apple interview, that they've been handing out apples. So were there apples? Were there apples at the rally? I need to know. Patricia says, I had a funeral today of a family member going back to Montreal Sunday. Oh, okay. All right. I'm definitely sorry for your loss. That's definitely a good reason to be down in the States for sure. All right. Jonathan says, bell time. Yeah, absolutely. We had the bell. Carl says, love your channel, by the way. So helpful for young people looking to invest. Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Always doing my best. Vic says, what a treat this stream on a down day. Nice. So you're not in the truck looking for a parking spot. So that's always fantastic. And what I find really funny is Vic always was talking about looking for a parking spot. For the longest time, and I was picturing a car. Until one day, Vic finally kind of revealed that he's driving a really big truck. I think it's an 18-wheeler, but then I'm like, okay, that's why it's so hard to find a parking spot. Larry is in the house. Lovely week for oil. Fully switched my fund into a corp. We're pivoting into growing trees, apple, peach, orange, oak in this market. Uncertainty costs $6 each. After 2 years, they turn into $30. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Cowboy says, saw the auto workers with carnage. Looked like they were awaiting results on cancer test. Pierre crowd are very active. Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I think there's been a lot, like, for people on the right, there has been a lot of pent up, because you've been living under a liberal regime for pretty much a decade. So I think there's a lot of excitement on the right. That's definitely filtering through, I think, in the rallies for sure. And Vic says, I'll get Air Canada below $14 a share. Rory's calling Air Canada a penny stock. Oh boy. Rory says, but thanks for the tip. I might swing that. Yeah, and I'm gonna break down the swing and everything in that video, provided, of course, provided it wins the vote, but I'm pretty sure it will. Larry says, purchased 10K trees along with started building a couple of 100-foot greenhouses. That's interesting. I have never tried really getting into trees. Now, funny story. I once, I was a lot younger. This was I think this was in the summer when I was going to university. So I was going to university in Halifax, and there used to be my roommate's parents. I was like, Used to sometimes hang out at their place up in Truro. And Truro is about 100 kilometers from Halifax. So one Saturday, I was like, I'm going to head up to Truro for the weekend because I knew that the roommates were going to be heading up there. I decided I was going to bicycle to Truro. This was the first time I did a 100-kilometer bike. So, and here's the thing. The problem with biking to Truro is the main highway that goes between Halifax and Truro, you're not allowed to bicycle on it. It's called the Bicentennial, and there's signs there saying no slow moving. You're not allowed to walk along it. You're not allowed to bike it. So I had to take the back roads all the way to Truro. It took about 8 hours. It took me about 8 hours to bicycle to Truro. So I got to Truro, and this is where trees come in. I was there, and usually when I go up there, because they feed me and everything, I try to help out a little bit. So they were like, "We're trying to move this tree," and I was like, "Oh, I can move a tree." So I spent most of Sunday. It looked like trench warfare as I was digging this big trench around the tree because I was like, "Well, we got to get all of the roots, and we got to get a bunch of the soil to take it so that the microbes are the same at where we're moving it to." It turned out to be a much bigger job than I expected, and it was basically another 8 hours of work. But then, of course, I didn't have to bike back because my roommates were there. I just threw the bike in the back of their car and got a ride back. But probably one of the weirdest weekends. Anyway, that was just another tangent. Wayne says, hard to see how Air Canada can improve since a large portion of their earnings were generated by U.S. flights. Yeah, they're going to be down for a while. Like this is the beautiful thing about this swing trade. This is a long game trade. Like, I was hoping actually I was hoping they wouldn't have recovered last time because I had wanted it to go a little bit longer. Ideally, if they stay under the $17 for a year, that'd be fantastic because I will just build up. I'll get over diversified in them. And then, when the trade time comes, that'll be nice. That'll be nice. So, yeah, I'm not thinking it's going to be a short term. It's not going to be it's not by the summer. We're going to probably, I doubt we'll be back. We'll be anywhere near my goals by the summer. So I definitely think it's going to be a long-term deal. Oh gosh, no apples. Okay, that sucks. Let's see. Moonlight says, do you suggest looking into defensive ETFs? There's a couple of strategies. So there's a couple of strategies that you can use. So one option is going into, we got the tariffs, we got a recession coming. Going into that, you have two options. One is if you buy stocks that have good fundamentals right now. So they don't have to be defensive per se, because you're going to just basically, let's say, for example, let's use Microsoft. So let's say you're buying Microsoft and your dollar cost averaging Microsoft, unless something big happens in tech, Microsoft in a recession and in a bear market, it's going to go down, but you're going to be buying it through that bear market, really cheap. And that's going to average you down. So in that case, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal, right? You have to get used to seeing the red all the way through. On the other side, when everything recovers, yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. So that's one option that you can use. And of course, the other option is going defensive. Now, I always say it depends on your runway. So if you have a long runway, so let's say you're 40. If you're 40 and you've still got 20 years in front of you, you could pick up some defensive stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Defensive stocks are usually really good stocks anyway. But I would not get into a situation where if you've got some really sound, great stocks that are in the red, I wouldn't be taking losses on them. I would probably still dollar cost average into them. So that's one route. The other route is, and this is where if you have a much shorter runway, then you may want to look and say, okay, let's see what I can do to shore things up. Let's get a little bit more defensive. So looking at your defensive stocks, looking at defensive ETFs. Now, the big benefit of a defensive ETF is, well, you get a lot more diversification, you get a lot more protection. So I'll give you a good example. With utilities, I think are a very good defensive stock right now for a couple of reasons. One, um, nobody is going to sort of say, oh, well, it's a recession, I think I'm not going to use power. That's not going to happen. Everybody still uses power. So they have a pretty consistent cash flow. Plus, they also have a lot of regulation within the utility sector. So that helps maintain that cash flow. Plus, they have a lot of long-term contracts. So somebody may contract, for example, Fortis, to provide power at a specific rate. See, it's all locked in. So even if people start spending a little less, or even if the rate should go down, it's locked in. The prices are locked in. So that's another reason that you get a lot of stability. And then with that sector as well, they love low rates. And we already know. So one thing that came out about the Bank of Canada today is that if the tariffs hadn't hit, they were planning to pause. They weren't planning to cut that rate, the last rate cut, the last 25 basis points. So that's kind of what happened. Those tariffs forced their hand. So it's already shown that because of the potential damage to the economy, we know that those rates are not going up. We know it. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to, even if we have tariff inflation caused by tariffs, they're not going to deal with that until after the economy part has been dealt with, until after the economy is looking better. So for that reason, right now, utilities are a great choice. So going back to Fortis versus, let's say, XUT. So XUT, that's the iShares capped utility index ETF. When you look at the two of them, they're both defensive. But here's the advantage that XUT has. If, let's say, something happened to Fortis, it doesn't happen to the sector, but let's say there's a scandal, and somebody at Fortis did something horrible or something. Well, in that case, yeah, Fortis could tank in price, and there goes your defense. But XUT, sure, they're holding Fortis, but they're holding a whole bunch of others. So if one company did fail, you're not going to have that issue. So that's kind of the way I sort of look at it. Now, you are paying a little bit of a management fee or a management expense ratio to do that. Now, if you are looking at if it's a passive index ETF, then it's usually pretty small. Whereas the more active it is, the more it's going to cost you. So, but yeah, I would say you could do either. You could really do either, but it really boils down to your own. Like I don't think in my example with Fortis, I don't think Fortis is going to have anything happen. But that's what Black Swans events are, right? We don't see them coming, but they happen. All right, FHA says, thanks for Trump-proof video. Is there an ETF that holds the majority of these? Well, sure. If you were to look at something like VDY, yeah, they're going to have these, but they're also going to have a lot of others. So that's kind of where ETFs come in. But yeah, I think most ETFs are probably going to have most of these, to be honest, if they are a full Canadian market ETF of sorts. Even something like XEQT, I would not be shocked if they don't have some exposure to each of these as well. Luke says, hi gang, I bought some dip today, too soon, Amazon and Google, CP below $100 Canadian. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. So Aurori says, on the book, CP is cheaper than CNR at the moment. Moonlight says, I feel the dip's going to be dippier. Yeah, there's probably going to be a lot more. I mean, this is the problem. And you see, it's not a problem. It's actually a good thing if you're looking for deals. So yeah, the dips we're getting today, we're probably going to see bigger dips. And those dips, we will probably see even bigger dips as we move into a recession. But the problem is, and this is kind of why dollar cost averaging really is a good way to go. We don't know when the bottom dip is going to come in. Nobody knows. Anybody who tells you, oh, it's going to come in on such and such a date, they're absolutely pulling that out of their butt. So their prediction is going to smell because it came out of their butt. You just have to, by dollar cost averaging, at least then, if that last dollar cost average dip that you hit, if that happens to be the bottom dip, then you're good. You're good. But if you keep waiting and all of a sudden the market starts improving and you're still saying, oh yeah, well, I don't believe that it's done. Next thing you know, you've missed a whole bunch of dips by the time you realize that you got to jump in now because, yeah, it's over and you've already missed most of the good stuff. So that's why dollar cost averaging works really, really well. Luke says, didn't bought CP. I think the stock will suffer more because of the trade war. It's kind of interesting. So the railroads, you have to realize they're still going to be moving. They're still going to be moving a lot of material across the borders, domestically as well. So that's kind of one of these things. There's a lot of domestic, all of their domestic cash flow. That's, if anything, that could actually increase as there's more trade opportunities opening up between provinces as we reduce barriers. But they are still going to be moving stuff to the U.S. Like the U.S. is not going to stop, buying Canadian goods. They're not. I mean, and of course, yeah, maybe that'll reduce, and it could hurt them, but I don't think it's going to hurt them that much. You got to realize too, they are both CP and CNR. They are an essential part of that backbone when it comes to the supply chain. So that does give them a lot of safety. Now they're down this year, and there's been a lot of issues that they've had this year. Everything from, well, they've had so many different labor issues through the year. They had the wildfire issues. That's one of the reasons that the both railroads got hurt pretty bad this year. But I have a feeling once we move into a recession, I think they're both going to be fine. And I do consider them both to be defensive stocks overall. Rory calls it a falling knife. Let's see. I agree. Too soon for CP. Let's see. Air Canada doesn't even pay a dividend. No, that's the thing. Air Canada is a pure 100% growth play. So yeah, and that's what sometimes with a swing trade, the growth stocks can sometimes be the ones that are going to move more. So yeah, it happens. It does happen that way. Chad says, let's see, CPP with conservative majority would be Canada dream. Yeah, I mean, it'll be very, very interesting. I mean, at least both of the big parties are offering a little bit of tax relief. Although the Conservatives are, they're actually looking to cut that first tax bracket a little more than what the Liberals have promised. So, very interesting. Ford, let's see. And here's one of the things too. Like, I know that they have both been grilled a little bit on, well, where's the money coming for these tax cuts? And neither of them have really given an answer, but I kind of suspect some of it might actually, they might say, oh, it's coming from the tariffs. It's hard to say. It's hard to say, but that would be my best guess at this point, is that they're going to sort of boil tariff relief into some of those promises. All right. Moonlight, just 1 second here. Love the coffee. Let's see. Great advice. Thanks for going into the time frame. Luckily, I do have 20 years. Perfect. There we go. Yeah, the longer you have, the more you can sit tight. And in fact, a nice deep recession when you got a 20-year time frame on your investments, if anything, you should be sitting back going, oh, please get worse. Please get worse, because you're going to be getting some great deals through that time, and you're going to be lowering your adjusted cost base. It's going to be averaged down further and further. So on the other side of this, you'll just be like, that's where I made the money. And it's true. I mean, during recessions, during the bad times, that's when the money is made. It's not made then. That's when you plant the seeds that are going to turn into a lot of profits down the road. Let's see. Do you like utility ETFs or individual stocks and utilities? Well, I think I mentioned that. So right now the 0 to 100K challenge, and that's the next video, by the way. I did add XUT, so that's a utility ETF. So I've added that this month, and of course I do hold Fortis. So I do like both. I do like both for sure. AA says, I will keep catching falling knives as I don't know what is the absolute bottom. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Larry says, I'm still loving Enbridge. Yeah, and Enbridge, and this is another thing too. So even if even let's go worst case scenario. And funny, the worst case scenario is the tariffs go away and the relationship with the U.S. returns to a little bit more of a normal. But the reality is the fact that we even got to as far as we did with the tariffs and such means that we know that we need pipelines in east, like a west-east pipeline. That's going to be good for the pipeline companies. So that will be good for Enbridge. That'll be good for Pemina, Southbow. A lot of them. That's going to be very, very good. TC Energy. I mean, these companies I think are going to do well as a result. And that's why, speaking of that challenge, once again, I actually did add a pipeline ETF because I do have a good feeling on the pipelines. Bleak is in the house with a hey all. Hello, Bleak. Good to see you. Larry says, I don't think Trump understands how much or how many chips the USA uses. With the increase in prices for the next 10 to 15 years, wouldn't tech demand in consumers drop? Well, this is the thing. Like he is, I mean, I understand what he thinks he's doing. I mean, his goal is to get people to sort of say, oh, well, I don't want to pay the tariff, so I'll open a factory in the United States instead. And Taiwan Semiconductor is doing that. They're going to open up and they're going to build a big facility in the US. And he had, I think a couple of weeks ago, we had a big press conference with them. I think that's what he kind of hopes. Now, some areas like with the cars, heading back to the cars, the problem is now my understanding, and I could be wrong on this, but my understanding, he said that if a car's parts are more than 50% made in the US, then there's no tariffs, as long as it's more than 50%. But the problem is with a lot of the cars, between Detroit and Windsor, that's where a lot of this is happening. It was all designed so that one factory in Detroit will do this, one factory in Windsor will do this, and parts are moving back and forth because some parts, the first part of a process might happen in Detroit, the second part in Windsor, then in Detroit, then back in Windsor. So you get all of this movement like crazy, and that's the way it was designed. It wasn't designed for one country or the other to just sort of say, okay, we can just quickly, easily build a whole bunch of new factories and we can do everything ourselves. It wasn't designed that way. It would take a long time to do that. And Trump's going to learn that. Initially, there's going to be a lot of extra pricing on cars. I think some of the estimates I've heard is anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 more that you're going to have to pay in tariffs. That you're going to get charged. So technically, the tariffs will be paid by whoever's importing the parts, but it could increase your price tag quite a bit on a car. So that is something. Now, and one thing I heard pointed out is that one person who's not getting their cars are not getting tariffs because they're made in the U.S. Is Elon Musk and Tesla. Now, mind you, right now, people are very annoyed with Teslas. So drive one at your own risk. I don't know if this is everywhere. There's probably places in the U.S. where people are not firebombing or Molotov cocktailing Teslas. I'm sure there's safe places, but still, I'd be a little weary. Those people who have removed the Tesla logo off of their car and put other logos over top of it. They're not doing that because they think it looks cool. They're doing that for a reason. Cowboy says, we'll be doing more Telus in April. Take advantage of the dip. Yeah. Telus is good. I mean, Telus is also, they're in the process as well of selling off, I think they have a minority stake in a tower of some kind. So, I'll have to look more into that. Larry says, let's see, construction and training to produce chips in the USA will take over a decade. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's going to be, and that's, there's going to be a lot of short-term pain, mid-term pain for some of these long-term gains. So yeah, it's going to be fun. Jonathan says, it's going to smell because it came out of their butt. Please make this into a short. Oh, okay. Well, maybe. Let's see. Rory says Carney and the economy is like Ricky fixing the towel rack. Now is this? I'm going to assume this is a I Love Lucy reference, maybe, because that's the only Ricky I can think of. But maybe, I don't know. Let's see. Magnificent Seven and HHIS. Are these still a long-term investment? If so, what is the strategy to buy? DCA as well. Thanks. That's a really good question. Well, Magnificent Seven, yeah, they're going to be good long term, absolutely. Now, HHIS, now they have a whole bunch of that stuff in there, and it's going to be interesting. Like, I honestly don't think that AI is done yet. I still think we got a lot still to come, and that could be interesting if that all if some of these newer advancements start popping up in AI in the middle of a recession. So it could be very, very interesting. But now with HHIS, I mean, yeah, you're going to have that fantastic dividend for sure. I would, and I've heard of some people who have completely doubled. I remember, I think actually the last couple of chats, there was somebody who was like, I just put 25,000 on HHIS. I'm like, okay, that's a fair amount. Yeah, HHIS. Yeah, that one's. It's not that it scares me. I do like it, and I think you'll be getting a good income. Now it depends too, though. If, for example, your goal is just the income, then HHIS is not bad. It's not bad. But if you're looking to get some of that growth, I think you're definitely better off. Dropping into the Magnificent Seven or something like a JEPQ or something of that nature. But, keep in mind, the HHIS, it's going to have a great income. And I really need to see. Problem is, all of these harvest high income, I like them. I think they're great. But they haven't been around for a long time. So it's very hard to see how they're going to behave going into a bear market and going into a recession. Hopefully they do well, though. I'm hoping they do well. But, we'll see. We'll see. All right. AA says, which one is the pipeline ETF? Let me show you. All right. It is PPLN, so pipeline. So here we go. Global X Equal Weight Canadian Pipelines Index. And we'll just pull this up here. Now, it hasn't been around that long. I'll grab the 3-year and you'll see. Oh, well, it's been around for more than 3 years, but I think on the 5-year. All right, the 10-year. There we go. No, it's okay. It's been around for a lot longer than I thought. I wasn't thinking it had been around that long, but yeah, here's the pandemic right here. Since the pandemic, it's pretty much been on a straight up trajectory. It's moving at a nice. I like what it's doing. I like what it's doing, and like I said, I think there's a lot of potential there. So I am liking this one. Now it does have. And give you an idea here. It has a half decent dividend too. So 7.335%. So not too shabby. And that's a monthly dividend too. So you're getting that and you're getting growth. So it's a pretty good total return option at the moment. All right. Now, let's pull this back here. Tom says, my apologies if I missed it, but any gold or mining stocks up for interpretation? I increased my position on B2 gold today with the dip. 3K gold will be good for earnings beats. And like I said, we actually talked a tiny bit about gold when we were looking at the market earlier. So gold being over 3,000 an ounce, gold is expected to have a strong year. So if you're looking at gold, yeah, I think it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be fine. Let's actually take a look here at B2. Let me pull up. There we go. B2. Here we go. Nope, that's not doing it. This is the one I can never remember the thing. BTG. Why do I keep coming? Yeah, there it is. Oh, well, this here's the US B2 gold, but that's fine. Oh, look at this. A little bit of a drop here, but I'm going to pull up the. Yeah, this is I don't know what this one is. B2 gold it says Canada, but okay, BTG. Now let me just see if I can find BTG. Come on, where's the Canadian one? I don't know what's going on there. Oh well. Let me try something here. I just want to pull up any gold. Ooh, what is this? Gold. I've never looked at that one. It's a penny stock though. I'm not really that interested in penny stocks per se. All right, GLCC. We'll go to our standard here. So this here is your global X gold producer. All right, there we go. This is one I can work with. It's like, all right, if I can't find what I'm looking for, this is the one. So this here is your 3-year. As you can see, it has been responding well. Now, one of the reasons I like something like this, and this is an ETF, is that, and Wayne is saying BTO, there we go. But one of the reasons I do like GLCC is that if you have a gold company that runs into an issue, like with a local government or something like that, that causes, that impacts where they can mine or shuts down their mine temporarily, this one here has a whole bunch of them, so it tends to not hurt you as much. So as you can see, and this here is just a year ago, they were worth like $23, almost $24. Now they're like $33, almost $34. So that's not bad. That's not bad in 1 year. So this is one I do like, GLCC. I'll back out a bit further. And, you can see this is where gold had kind of a bit of a rougher time. I'm going to go the 5-year here. You can see, yeah. And this is kind of what happens with gold. Now, because we're heading into a much, much better period in time, we're going to get some movement. We're going to get some movement up, I think. Most people are predicting gold to hit an all-time high. Well, they're already at an all-time high, but they're continue to hit all-time highs throughout the year. I can't remember the exact ounce price that they're estimating for the end of the year, but it is higher than where we're at now. So I do think gold is one of those solid ones when you're heading into rough economic times. So we got a recession, we got a bear market. We more than likely are still going to have tariffs happening. So gold is that turn to hedge that people have been going. All right, now I got to get caught up here on the supers. I got to get caught up on the supers. Kevin Cass has come in and dropped in a super. That means that she's the GOAT. She is the GOAT. All right. And it also moves our swag meter up to 19. Oh boy, we might actually hit it because we hopefully have. I'm going to say this hope, and I'll explain why in a moment. So we hopefully have a stream on Sunday, so this week. The reason I say hopefully is that, well, weather is coming. So tonight, from tonight until tomorrow night around, so tonight around 7 p.m. until 7 p.m. tomorrow, we get a snowstorm coming in. So anywhere from 15 to 20 centimeters of snow. That's not so bad. Then we're going to have a small reprieve. And then as we head into Sunday, we got a nice storm coming. And they're talking about 15 millimeters of freezing rain all through Sunday. So I'm hoping we don't lose power. But if I all of a sudden don't show up Sunday, you'll know why. You'll know exactly why. So yeah, and Sunday it'll also be one of those streams where it's like we'll go as long as we can, but if all of a sudden in the middle of the stream it just ends once again, that means the power's gone. So yeah. Anyway, that is a possibility on Sunday. I'm hoping it doesn't happen. I'm hoping we're fine. Now, most of the power lines, at least the local power lines are underground. So, you you don't have to worry about those. It's more or less if we get a big one that, the ice builds up on or something. It's like, gosh, whatever happened to March? In like a lion, out like a lamb. For us this year, it's like in like a lion. Somewhere's in the month, it got exposed to a whole bunch of gamma radiation, and on the way out, you don't want to make that lion angry, and somebody absolutely ticked it off. So it's we got angry radioactive lion on the way out. It's not good. So anyway, that's what I meant about the weekend. So hopefully we're going to be good. Hopefully we're going to be good. All right. Now, there is another super sticker. We're going from super sticker to super sticker. We got a $3.99 super sticker from Moonlight. So Moonlight is now our new, oops, it wasn't scrolling. Moonlight is the new GOAT. The new GOAT. Thank you very much, Moonlight. And, well, also means I have to knock us up to 20. There we go. We're on 20 out of 25 on the swag meter. This is awesome. This is awesome. All right, now let's get back here. And I kind of overjumped. I kind of jumped over a couple of comments here to get to the supers. Jersky comes in. Hello, everyone. How bad do you think next week will drop? I think it's going to be a pretty good drop. I think, and it's all going to be fear-based because the talk about well, keep in mind, we have 2 days of tariffs coming into effect. So on the 2nd, we got the reciprocal tariffs plus, if you remember the initial 25% on everything, well, he then gave a reprieve to any of the items that were covered by the free trade agreement, but that was a 1-month reprieve. So those are going back in. Those ones that have been exempt are going back in as well on the 2nd. Then on the 3rd, that's when the auto tariffs actually begin. So yeah, we got a few things, and also there's some stuff going on with lumber. It's not tariffs, but we'll talk more about that on the weekend for sure when I have the data in front of me. All right, let's see here. Let's see, Trailer Park Boys scene, pretty funny one. All right, absolutely, nothing wrong with the Trailer Park Boys. And I think they were mostly filmed in Nova Scotia, so not too shabby. Jersky says, the last I looked at my portfolio, every stock was in the red. Oh boy. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing. Now, I have not looked. I've not looked at the challenge today, but I know there's actually quite a few that are in the green, but keep in mind those total returns in there, those are for the lifetime of that stock in the challenge. So but yeah, I think everything day wise is probably in the red. Probably. Well, no, not everything. Not everything. There's a couple things that are not. I think XUT, I think on the day, the utilities and also Fortis are both in the green. I think, yeah, they're both in the green today. All right. Oh, BTO. There we go. There we go. That's it. And let's actually take a look at the Canadian BTO. The American one wasn't looking super great. Yeah, let's pull it back up here. All right, we were on GLCO, BTO. You know what I need to do? I need to sort of in my mind associate B2 Gold with Bachman Turner Overdrive, and then I would remember. Okay. Oh boy, yeah, they're well, maybe they are doing bad. Yeah, they're doing bad on both charts. Yeah, they're down 8.59% today. But I mean, you know, they're looking a little bit better on the long term. I'm going to go back to 3 years. Yeah, they came down, and then they're kind of sort of following a similar trajectory to GLCC, although GLCC is much more pronounced. But yeah, the fun stuff. Cowboy says, if a Canadian stock is paid in U.S. funds, do they hold 15%? And do you have to pay conversion fee? They do not hold 15%. That's an IRS thing. So, you know, and some Canadian companies do pay in that. However, if you don't have well, I guess if you're holding it in a Canadian account, you would, there would probably be a conversion fee on it. At least, well, the exchange would definitely be on it. Be interesting to see. I've never really looked to see whether, for example, Wealthsimple, whether they're going to hit you with a conversion fee on that as well. Let me look into that. Because I don't know if they would hit you with a conversion fee on that. They would hit you on a conversion fee for converting money from back and forth. But where this is paid out something tells me that they wouldn't have a conversion fee. That's my gut says they won't, but I want to double check it because I don't honestly, I can't definitively say. So I need to double check that. That's a really good question. Wayne says snow. Glad to be here in Arizona. Yeah, you probably don't have any snow in Arizona. Rory says we got 18 centimeters of snow since early Thursday morning. Yikes, Rory. Yeah, I think it's time. It's time for the snow to end. It is time for the snow to end. Holy banana bread. AA says, damn, just when I thought we almost hit the summer. I know we had a couple of days, like a couple of weeks ago, where it was like 15, 16. I was like, all right, it's done. But nope, it's back. It's back. And we're officially spring. So I'm hoping this is winter's last hurrah. Bismarcky says, if you're in New York, it might be Doug Ford cutting your power. I'm in Ottawa. So I'm not even technically being in Ottawa. I'm not even that close to the U.S. border. Isaac says, I bought more OTEX MTY CAMG LSBD on the deep. Oh, nice. Yeah, I'm hoping. I really love open text. But they've had a hard year. They've had a hard year. I hope it's going to be better. Mario says, good afternoon. And let's see, I picked up more S-Max. Nice. And let's see, also QQQY, HTA, and HBA. A little bit of a shopping spree, a little bit. All right. Your damn it says, hi, Candace. I hope all is well. You had mentioned a couple of weeks ago that Air Canada at 15 looks really good, but what do you think of it at 14? Is it time to buy? I can't say go buy Air Canada, but I can say that I'm pretty excited about Air Canada. I'm going to do it looks like I'll be doing a video on Air Canada next Friday. There's a vote. I put it to the vote. So right now it is currently 72% of the folks are saying yes, 14% said no, but we've only got 29 votes. And normally I when I put a poll up like this, I normally get 100, anywhere from depending on the poll, 100 to 150 votes. So it's brand new. So yeah, if you want me to do the Air Canada swing trade, and I'll throw a deep dive into it as well. If you want to see that next Friday, be sure to head over to the community tab and give it a good old vote. And we'll get that done. We'll get that done for sure. All right. Cowboy says, thanks. You are very welcome. I totally forget what you're thanking me for, but right. The the conversion fee thing. So yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I'll get a definitive answer on that because, like I said, I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen, but I'm not 100%. And you guys know me. If I'm not 100%, I like to go find out. I like to go find out for sure. All right. Let's bring back the big screen. All right. So we're about an hour in. So if you got your last minute questions, now's the time. Now's the time to hit me up with those. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee here. Oh, I love that. Coffee is so good. Good thing there's no tariff on coffee. Your damn it says, I will anxiously await the video. Thanks, Candace. And here's the goal. I will tell you guys, this is a funny thing. Air Canada is this one company that does, every time I've done a deep dive on Air Canada, it has tanked. Like, we're talking not even half the views as a normal deep dive. It's Air Canada just does not do well on the channel. That's one of the reasons that I don't really deep dive them that often. But where it's a swing trade, and that's kind of the thing. I'm going into it with this. I have to think that this could potentially be the first time Air Canada has a good video. So that. I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. Of course, the next video up, guys, is that 0 to 100K challenge. And one person, actually a couple people, have suggested that we go back to doing the 0 to 100K challenge videos on the monthly cycle. I'm okay with that, but we voted to sort of push it out a little bit. But I'll put it back up for a vote again. If that's what the majority want, that's what the majority will get. So gotta love democracy. You gotta love democracy. So yeah, I'll put that vote up after the 0 to 100K challenge comes out on Tuesday. And keep in mind, if you guys, those of you who are not channel members get a lot of good stuff on the channel. One of the things that they get is they get to preview. They get early access to a video. So for today's video that dropped at like 2 p.m. Eastern, they had it yesterday around 2 p.m. Eastern. So they've had about 24 hours of the video ahead of time. So that's always a cool thing. In addition, they get a exclusive live stream every single month. Now you can watch their old live stream because I release basically a year ago. So when we get into April, I'll release the April 2024 live stream for you guys, for everybody to enjoy. They also get the last video of the month, which is the one that came out today. So the Members' Choice video. You guys, everybody gets to tell me ideas, and I grab the top 4, and then they vote. They voted up, and they vote this time. They voted for the Trump what is it? Trump-proof tariffs, or sorry, Trump-proof stocks. That was it. So that's what you guys got this time around. So they'll get to do that again next time as well. So, and I'm always looking to find other ways. Like I want to create. I haven't yet figured out how to do this. I do want to create over on the Discord, because we have a Discord channel. I do want to create a channel member section, so that way there, the channel members could just go in there and have their own little area. So we have to see. Jonathan has gifted a Mountain Finance membership, and Northern Gal. Congratulations, Northern Gal, and thank you, Jonathan. Now, guys, they count. They count on that swag meter. So Jonathan has advanced that up to 21, and guess what? That does make Jonathan our goat. So Jonathan is now a goat. Congratulations, Jonathan. And of course, Jonathan is always he's awesome. Jonathan is like I will bet that the first comment on every live stream, I will bet Jonathan hits it 85 to 95% of the time. So that's always fantastic. I love it. Love it. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Let's see. Ride till you die. There we go. Yeah. I don't even, I don't think I don't drink, but when I did drink, I don't know if I've ever tried rye. So, Cowboy says, FTS or Emera. Well, your first choice is a utility. All right. I'm a little biased towards Fortis for 2 reasons. One, they are an Atlantic Canada company. So even though they have a presence all across North America, they're headquartered out of St. John's, Newfoundland. And they were the first stock I ever bought. So, and plus they're a dividend king. I mean, they're one of the 2 dividend kings. So there's just so much I love about Fortis. So gotta say, I love Fortis. Let's see. Liberals never a 4th term. Hydro One. Hydro One's another good utility company as well. Like just take a gander here. Like I did deep dive them. I think wasn't that long ago, actually. Hydro One, here we go. They're easy to find, H. But let's pull up, let's take a look. So you can see they have been on a bit of a tear. So this is another good defensive stock. Like I think Hydro One is fantastic. All right. How is US ETFs banks like Hubble looking? Let's take a look. HUBL, is that it? Here we go. Harvest U.S. leaders income. So U.S. bank leaders. All right. So let's just pull up the 3-year. So you can sort of see, like, for me, this is more about the income. You're not going to probably see a lot of growth on it. Like, most of that growth, I think, it's going to be coming back to you in your earnings. Like, even let's go back 5 years. You can sort of see, you will get some pretty explosive growth points, but for the most part, I think through a recession, you're going to see this is more of straight income, because things are not going to be that great. Now, on the other side of the recession, as things get better, this is going to look a little bit better. Now, one of the nice things about the U.S. So when we talk about the Canadian banks, we're always talking about that mortgage renewal wave that's coming at us. They don't have that in the United States. And the reason for that is that you can lock in your mortgages for a lot longer time period. So people getting mortgages in the United States during the pandemic at some of the crazy low prices, they weren't sort of limited to 5 years locking it in. These people were locking it into like 15, 20 years. So they don't have that issue. So that is one positive side. But keep in mind, these tariffs are going to hurt everybody in the United States. So that will certainly impact things as well. All right. But I do like the harvest ETFs. I will say that for sure. Let's see. Your damn it says countries with no income tax, such as the United Arab Emirates, Monaco, and the Bahamas, fund their governments through other revenue sources like tourism, natural resources, or corporate taxes. I wish we adopted that. That would be fantastic. Now, obviously, one of the things that we would have to do is we would have to be processing our own minerals. We need to have a lot more oil refineries, especially heavy oil. We need to be able to process everything, open up, and get rid of all of the red tape, right? Like Ontario, we have what's called the Ring of Fire. The Ring of Fire is where they have so many critical elements, minerals. We need to open that up, have access to it. Canada could be a much richer country than we are now. I don't know if we would get to the point where we wouldn't have income tax, but we could certainly have a much better country with a lot lower taxes for sure. So hopefully this, this tariff wave, this Trump lesson does lead to us doing a lot more of our own stuff. And I think both Polyev and Carney they're talking the talk. I just need whoever wins to walk the walk afterwards. So we'll have to see. Chad says, Texas has no tax too, but I'd rather be in UAE. Zero tax in business is great. No tax on crypto too. Yeah, there's a lot of people who live, in that vicinity for sure because of that. Especially some of the big crypto YouTubers. A lot of them are living in like UAE or different areas in that vicinity that have very favorable taxes for them. Isaac says 98% of my portfolio is pink to deep red. Yeah, just don't get the big message here is when your portfolio was going in the red because of stuff like that stuff that's happening now. Don't take unnecessary losses out of fear. You can, like, if you're doing a strategic, like, there are some YouTubers in the finance. I was thinking a finfluencer there, or that's the word I was looking for. There are some finfluencers that will be like, I will never sell in the red ever. I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. I have no problem selling in the red, as long as what I'm using that money for is more of a, like, if I'm making, for example, a sideways trade, I might do that. So, for example, if I'm moving from one bank to another because that other bank is in a similar situation, but I think they have a better chance at recovery, then I would be like, okay, why not? So sometimes it does make sense, because I look at it this way. Like, if you're holding company in the red And you know they're going to be fine on the other end, but you know it's a long way to get there. You know that they're going to be struggling for a long time further. You get a couple of options. You can stay loyal to them and you can continue to dollar cost average down. But if there's a similar company in a similar situation, but their road to recovery looks a lot better, moving sideways is not a bad thing. And if you're doing this in a account that's outside of your registered account, well, you've just created a loan. You've just created basically in this case here a tax loss harvesting situation. So that sometimes can work in your favor. Let's see. Emera is Nova Scotia Power. Oh yes, I remember. I remember when Nova Scotia used to it used to be called Nova Scotia Power. Anybody who's familiar with Halifax, Bedford area, there used to be Nova Scotia Power. There used to be this little thing as you were driving along. I'm trying to remember exactly where it was. Basically, if you're driving along the Bedford Highway, as you were heading into Bedford, I think it was just before you got to the sort of the area of Bedford where you've got like Chicken Burger and stuff like that. But there used to be a little building there. And then I think after Nova Scotia Power gave up the building, I think it became the Bedford Police for a bit too. So, but yeah, anyway, when I hear Nova Scotia Power, I always think of that little building that they had there. AA says, I bought some T-Cash, but it has low volume. Do you think it will face difficulty selling them? It depends. I mean, I look at it this way. Like I am moving to T-Cash, so I don't see myself wanting to sell all of it, like a big chunk of it. For me, it's more or less it'll sit there, and then as we're in, like once we get into the recession, once we get into the bear market, I will, I'll sell a little bit here, a little bit there as I'm dollar cost averaging into things. So for me, I don't think that volume is a big issue. And usually a low volume too, you also have to realize that a low volume, it's not always a bad thing unless you're doing, unless you're trading. If you're doing trading opposed to investing, then it becomes a bit more of an issue because you don't want a situation where you're like, you're trying to buy it and then sell it fairly quickly. And all of a sudden you go to sell it because, the price just spiked for a second. But in the case with TCSH, I mean, it's not like you have these spikes. The price movement on it is very, very cyclical. So I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it's an issue with something like TCSH. Let's see, Cowboy, they own all the lines of government. Lots of copper spent. Holy banana bread. All right, here we go. Whoa. All right. Where were we at? Okay. Let's see. Gold, silver, copper, you will never lose. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with gold, silver, copper, any kind of minerals like that. Of course, uranium as well. Don't forget uranium, Chad. Sophie says the heavy oil is important. I believe the U.S. doesn't have heavy oil, and that's for diesel, ring of fire. And see, Pierre talked about that as well, in particular to get the road built required. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like the U.S., they have a fantastic deal with Canada. They have, and this is the funny thing. Trump talks about a trade deficit. If anything, they're getting a sick deal with us because we cannot process our own heavy oil. That's where they're getting a great deal. They're getting it at a discount. Now, and this is what the U.S. is doing. The U.S., they pump a lot of oil. And even if Trump goes to drill, baby, drill, fine. But the stuff they're pumping, they're using fracking. So fracking, you basically, you drill down and you inject water in between layers of shale to pump out the oil. So the oil that the U.S. is pumping, it's all light crude. Now, here's the beautiful thing. Light crude is pretty expensive oil. It's, you can sell it for a lot. So for one barrel, and I don't know the exact numbers, guys, so I'm not going to use them. But for one barrel of heavy crude that they receive from us, they can sell one barrel of light crude for more than they're paying us. So they're making a net profit by doing this. And they have the refineries to produce that heavy crude. And sometimes they're selling back to us some of the processed product as well. So they're making a killing off of our energy. They really are. And that's kind of what needs to change. So, we need to have that capacity. Even if we continue to sell them heavy crude, we need to at least have enough refinery capacity so that we don't have to buy back the finished product. We can just make the products on our own. But obviously, if we could process it all and sell them processed heavy crude, that would probably work out better. But then, and this is the argument that you could say, is that, well, if it's processed already, they may not want it as much because they sort of lose that incentive. They lose that incentive a little bit because of that the difference between the price of heavy crude and light crude. That could become a factor, but we'll have to see. Chad mentions only if you drive diesel, but let's see, heavy equipment and ships use it. Yeah, absolutely. Trains, yeah. Now, and that's the interesting thing. CP is experimenting with hydrogen. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that as well. So I think that's pretty darn cool. All right, let's see here. Heavy oil will have more products and plastics. It's just not diesel and jet fuel. Oh, yeah, exactly. You got the plastics and everything else. So it's all in there. And let's see. This was Enduro ACT came into play. Let's see, gold, silver bonds. And yeah, BTC. Yeah, I like Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin is awesome. All right, guys. It's time for the weekend. It's time for the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully, I'm back here on Sunday. I think I will be. I'm pretty darn sure. Like I said, if I'm not, it's because the ice storm took out the power. But I'm an optimist, so I've already done the work. I've already done the work to make the pictures and got the news all together. So I think we're going to be back. And Mary says, thank you. And guys, on your way out, if you have not yet hit that like button, please do so. And I will see you guys here once again. I will see you guys here on Sunday. So have a fantastic weekend, everybody. And if you're in a place where you got good weather, enjoy it. Enjoy it. If you're here, bunker down, folks. All right. Take care. We will see you guys later. Bye-bye.